Hi, welcome. I'm Megan Harney, and today I'm sharing our favorite preschool workbooks. So this actually turned out to be kind of a whole homeschool preschool series that I'm doing. I wasn't really originally planning for that, but that's how it worked out. So I have shared some videos in the past of kind of an overview of our homeschool pre-K curriculum. And then I've shared two other pieces of our curriculum so far, all about reading and sunlight. And today is the third piece of our curriculum, and that is our preschool workbooks. And these are mostly because he has an older sister. I have a 7-year-old who's going into 2nd grade, and then my 4-year-old is going into pre-K this year. And if he didn't have his older sister who sat down to do school every day, I don't know that we would really do workbooks all the time. We would probably just interact with letters in different ways, but his sister gets papers, so he wants papers to do for school. So I found some really great preschool workbooks, and I'm just going to share a flip through of them now so you can see what our favorite ones are and what they look like on the inside to see if they would help your pre-K, preschooler student in their learning journey. So let's get started. Now, I told you that the last section was basically for school time. If my daughter's doing school and he wants to do school papers too, that's what these are for. And these have lasted me for a couple of years. So we started some of these books last year and he just had a few left over. So I tossed them back in with our school stuff and I'll pull them out again next year. I do have a couple of books that I've saved for this next year. So I'm just gonna flip through some of these so you can see if any of them would work for you. One of the best places I've found for these preschool workbooks is Amazon, but their warehouse section. So if you can buy it used like new or used good, like this one came with a tear on the front. Well, I was going to tear it apart anyway to organize it for school, so I didn't care about that at all. And he certainly had no idea, did not care in the least. So that's a really great place to save a little bit of money on preschool workbooks and a lot of other workbooks as well. So I'm just going to show you a few of what we had. I loved these. These are my favorite pages that we found because it had nothing to do with writing. There was a little bit of tracing, but there was no writing letters. So if and my son is one that he will trace anything. He will do a maze, no problem, but as soon as you want him to form a letter, he freaks out and does not want to do it and can't do it and will roll on the floor languishing printing letters. So in my brain, that's not a battle I'm willing to fight right now. So no letter writing, that's fine. We'll work on hand-eye coordination without any letters coming into the mix. So like this one is find and circle hidden R, so that's just letter recognition. And then you just draw a line from the R to the things that start with R. It's very simple, but really good. Just the repetition kind of thing really cements things in their mind. Here's a logic one, draw lines to show where the items belong in the fruit or vegetable stand. And again, if he wasn't having a drawing day but still wanted to do a paper, we did it with our fingers. So use your finger to trace where the fruits and vegetables belong. Cross out the picture that does not belong in each row. Again, this is a page that we did last year, but instead he just pointed. He didn't want to cross out that day. Fine, no problem. Point to the one that doesn't belong, and we talk about it. We talk about why it doesn't belong. Here's an example of the kind of tracing that they have. It's not overwhelming, it's not too much. And okay, here's tracing some circles. So that is good. This would be too much like letter writing for my son. This would be a no-go for him. In each row, circle the one that shows the same number as the first one. So it looks like math, but it's actually more of a logic puzzle to figure out because they're not in the same, the pictures don't look exactly the same, but you have to find the number of them. Here are trace the path from A to Z. Let me see if I can find and these ones were towards the end because we didn't get all the way through this book last year, so they actually start out a little bit simpler than these pages. Let's see. here's some tracing that's not letter writing, and it helps them to know to go from left to right. Yeah, these are getting more towards the end. Let's see, I was trying to find a tracing page that they had, but I don't see one. He must have done all those. Here's a maze. So they had mazes, they had different tracing ones in here as well. Here's another, find the 5 hidden D's, and he probably just pointed to them, and so I stuck it back in here so he can use it again next year. Another thing that my son loves is stickers, and I'm sure that he's not alone in that. And so what I did actually, I got a big Melissa and Doug book of stickers. I found it at a garage sale, so I just cut them up into little chunks, because if he got, I mean, the pages are huge. I think they're 12 by 18. That's too many stickers. That would be too overwhelming. He would never even want to start because it was too much. So I cut them into little manageable sections, and then I might give him a page that has letters, and then we'll play a game with it of like, put the blue car on the B, put the green car on the F. And sometimes I did, I drew pictures of like a volcano going off, and you can decorate it with all these animals. Decorate the volcano however you want with all the animals. You know, he tend to like the ones that were a little more structured better, but I just made a few of those up for him last year. Might be helpful to you. Here are do-a-dot pages, which are wonderful. We got the dot stamps, and you can find those on Amazon as well, and he loves doing some of those pages. Some other skills that we're working on are cutting and tracing. So here are, last year I got the book that this came out of, and I can't find any more of the pages or the cover of the book, but I'll link it for you below. It was a Kumon book. They make a lot of these kinds of books, but I love this one because the paper was really thick, so it was easier for him to manipulate. And it started out really simple and then got a little more complex as it went, and it actually wound up being too hard for him once you got to about page 20, I think. So I think we got about 20 weeks out of it, and then it was too much. He couldn't quite do this kind of big cutting. He gets worried when he gets off the line. So anyway, but that was excellent for 20 weeks. So this year I got this one, which is, it's a lot of like cutting and pasting. So this one they're gonna cut, and these lines are really big. So this is a great, if you have a younger pre-K student. So the lines are really big, and then you paste it all together into a rocket. There's a tug of war, you cut it out, paste it together in a line, and then try to break it apart. Here's one where you're gonna make a box. Love this, you just cut in, and then you have a bear that you fold up his little legs. Here's you cut along this line and then fold it up, and then he can open his mouth and have a sour lemon. Pretty cute. So these are just little cutting papers to give just some extra practice with scissor skills. Amazing tracing is another one that he was a big fan of last year. So he did most of these pages. I just have the very end ones, but he loved going these. I actually found a marker that you can erase, and he thought it was hilarious. So he would trace the whole thing with the marker and then erase the whole thing with them. And so he would hand it back to me, and he would laugh hysterically because there was nothing on it. But in reality, he had just traced the whole thing twice. So I'll let you decide who was winning there. And so these are just fun tracing sheets. Again, these are towards the end. There's his lovely tracing skills, and I'm just not worried about it. He can practice how he wants. Here's the end of the book. And every practice is good practice. So I'm not worried about him getting right in the lines or anything. I kind of tell him, let's try to stay in the lines. I'll show him, we'll trace it with our finger first to see the direction that it's supposed to go. And then he's free. He's free to do what he wants because he's 4 and a boy, and he will do what he wants. Another thing that was a big hit are these painting pages. Now, if you're anything like me, painting is really fun for your kids and really awful when you start getting everything out. And so these are just water. You get a cup of water, and then the paint is right on the pages. So they get it wet, and then they can paint the picture rinse out their brush, get more paint, and very little mess. Don't have to get out all the watercolors or a whole palette of tempera paint, a whole palette of acrylic paint or anything. I didn't even put on aprons. He could just go at this, no problem. And of course, whenever he painted his, it was all black and brown and no other colors. But again, I don't really care. He was having fun. He was distracted a little bit while we got reading or math done with Big Sister, and big hit in my book. I hope you enjoyed those pre-K workbook flip-throughs. If there are other workbooks that you love for your pre-K and preschool students, I would love to know about them because curriculum is nerdily one of my favorite things in the world. So please share them in the comments below. If you have any questions or want to see anything else that we're using, you can flip through the videos that I've already made, and you can also ask in the comments, and I'm always happy to talk homeschooling. So we will see you guys next time. Bye!